भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ अथाश्वलायनो भगवन्तं परमेष्टिनम् उपसमेत्योवाच अधीहि भगवन् ब्रह्मविद्यां वरिष्ठाम् सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढाम् यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात्परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान्। Mantra number 18. एतस्मात् जायते प्राणः मनः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापश्च पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी। Etasmat, verily from this Atman. Atma, etasmat, which is prasiddha. Prasiddha as aham, 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 I. This I, which is vyavaharika, which is always there in and through all the experiences. And this vyavaharika aham is because of this Atma, Atma Spuranam. The Spuranam is because of Atma, the Chaitanyam. And it is evident. It is evident for all as I. Understand that the manifest I is Vyavaharika I. And that Vyavaharika I, the truth of that is Atma consciousness. We are not equating the Vyavaharika I to Atma. Atma is Paramarthika. And that Paramarthika is present, is manifest as the invariable I, aham in the Vyavaharika. So this is prasiddha, well known. Therefore, etasmat, from this, from what is well known as the manifestation in the form of aham asmi, I am, from that Atma, etasmat, jayate, pranaha, manaha, etc. The karya, karana, sanghata, the bodies, the three body, and then every body, and not only body, the kam, the panchabhuta also, kam, vayu, jyotihi, etc. The panchabhuta, all are born of, they all manifest from this Brahmatma, it is said. So I am the from which everything manifests, and from which, unto which everything resolves, goes back. In the previous mantra it was said, Yasmin layam yati puratrayam cha. And the cha shabdat, from the word cha we indicate, we understand, the kam, vayuhu, jyotihi, all that resolve unto Atma, Brahmatma. And therefore Brahmatma is the truth, is the sum and substance of all the beings. Sthula, Sukshma, whatever it is, Brahmatma is the sum and substance, is the truth of all being. Okay. This mantra, particular mantra, occurs in the Mundaka Upanishad also. Verbatim it is there, this mantra. Etasma jayate pranaha. There in the Mundaka also. And in the Atma Bodha, in some readings, we come across this very same, in the form of the verse, it comes. I think we saw this, when we saw Atma Bodha, I think we saw this also. It was there in our reading. Etasma jayate pranaha, etc. is there. Okay. So, Brahmatma is the source, is the sustenance, and is the place of resolution of all beings. Okay. Now the Mahavakya and the Mahavakya Artha is mentioned in this following mantra. Idanim Mahavakya Artham Aha. What is indicated, what is meant by this Mahavakya? The Mahavakya said and then literally mentioned, and then what is meant by it, that's also shown. Okay. Yat param brahma sarvatma vishvasyayatanam mahat sukshmat sukshmataram nityam tattvameva tvameva tat yat param brahma sarvatma vishvasyayatanam mahat sukshmat sukshmataram nityam tattvameva tvameva tat. Yat, that which is Shastra Prasiddham, that which is well known in the Shastra, talked of in the Shastra, that which is Yat Param Brahma, the Brahma which is the unconditioned, unlimited, Param Utkrishtam, the superior. Superior here in the sense of unconditioned, not conditioned by anything, not limited by anything. Why not the word, why not mention just Brahma? Why say Param Brahma? Right? Yeah, Brahma, the word Brahma is also used in the sense of the Saguna, Sagunam Brahma, it's also used. Also it refers to Veda in some senses. To indicate that here what is meant by this word Brahma is unconditioned, Paramarthika, the limitless, therefore Param Brahma, Utkrishtam Brahma. Also the Param word indicates this is the Purushartha, the highest, that is the Purushartha, Param Brahma. What is Brahma? We know this Lakshanam, Brahma Lakshanam, the very definition, very characteristic, very nature of Brahman is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. In the Taittiriya, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, Swarupa Lakshanam. In the Shastra, two Lakshanas are mentioned for Brahman. One is the Swarupa Lakshanam, the other is Tatastha Lakshanam. Swarupa Lakshanam is what it really is. That is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That is meant, Swarupa Lakshanam. And then Tatastha Lakshanam, an indicative, and a description through indication. That is the Tatastha Lakshanam. What is the Tatastha Lakshanam for Brahman? What is that? Yasmat Jayate, right? Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisamvishanti tad Brahma. Again Taittiriya. So from which yato va, yataha, why, imani bhutani, all the beings, yataha jayante, from which all emanate, come into being, born from which. And then yena jatani jivanti, because of whom all that is born, they sustain, they are there, they continue to be. So Srishti and now Sthiti. And then Yasmin Layam, Yasmin Abhiyanti, and with provision, in which everything resolves at the time of Pralaya, at the time of wisdom unto which everything goes back. So Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karanam is Brahmatma. That is the Tatastha Lakshanam. Why it is called Tatastha Lakshanam? Because coming of beings, sustenance of beings, all that is not Paramarthika. They are only Vyavaharika. So Vyavaharika, through a Vyavaharika description, we are trying to refer to the Paramarthika. Therefore it is Tatastha. Okay? Tatastha Lakshanam, that description, that definition is that which is not an integral part of the object that is defined. Right? We know that, give the example. Devadatta is there, our familiar, our friend, Vedanti's friend, Devadatta. He comes now and then, the fellow comes. So I am Devadatta, he comes, right? And then in the Bhagatyaga Lakshan, this fellow Devadatta comes. And now I want to know which is Devadatta's house. Okay? And Devadatta happens to live in a modern apartment, in a modern city. Okay? All high rises, flats, apartments, all look alike in a condominium. Okay? In an apartment, the fellow lives. All look alike. And I want to know which is Devadatta's house. I don't know, I want to know. Then I ask a person, which is Devadatta's house. And then he points out that one. Which is that one? There are 100 houses in that one. Which one? So he says, there's a kaka, there's a crow, there's a bird sitting on the top, you see? And that is Devadatta's flat apartment, that is his house. Now, this kaka sitting, a crow sitting, the crow is not a part of the house, Devadatta's house. Right? Next moment it flies away. Thank God it was there. When I wanted to see, it was sitting there. And then the moment I saw this, okay, then the kaka flew away. But then I have identified Devadatta's house. Here the kakavan, right? Kaka upavishtaha, grihaha, the house on which the crow is sitting. Pointing to the crow, and then crow is sitting on the house. That is not intrinsic to the house, but it's incidental. Just for the sake of identification, it is there. And then once I identify, it's not part of the Lakshanam, it's not part of the Lakshya Vastu, right? It's not part of the object referred to, indicated, it just flies away. That is called, such definition is called Tatastha Lakshanam. That Lakshanam which does not form part of the integral part of the defined object, Lakshya Vastu. But Lakshana Kale, at the time of understanding, identifying, it is useful. Such definition is called Tatastha Lakshana. An incidental, using an incidental parameter, incidental entity to refer to identify something. Here, Brahma is Paramarthikam. And Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, they are all Vyavaharika. How can this Vyavaharika actually refer to this Paramarthika? They cannot. But then, only for the sake of definition, at the time of understanding, pointing out, they help. Therefore, this Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karanam, Brahma, this is a Tatastha Lakshana. Okay. So, both are necessary, both are useful. Okay. So here, the Swarupa Lakshanam, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, and Tatastha Lakshanam, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, Karanam, Brahma. Both are, we recollect that. So that is that Param Brahma. And that Param Brahma happens to be Sarva Atma, Sarvesham Atma, Sarvasya Atma. That is the truth of the self, the very being of all entities, all objects. Brahma, one, is the Atma of everything. Sarva Atma it is. It is not just Atma of one entity, it is the truth of all. Sarvasya Atma it is. And not only that, Vishwasya Ayatanam, the very abode, the very residence, and in which the Vishwa, the entire world exists. Vishwasya Ayatanam, in which the entire world resides, right? Lives, exists. That is the Ayatanam. And this is Mahat, the great, the limitless Brahman. And further, Sukshmat Sukshma taram. It is sukshma, subtler than the subtle. Subtler than the subtle. Sukshma taram, subtler than the subtle. Sukshmat sukshma taram. We know that there is thula entities are there, and then sukshma, very subtle entities are there. Like our own, a feeling, an idea, right? An experience, they are subtle in as much as they are not visible for sense organs. They are not seen by the sense organs. So they are subtle. And then there are subtle elements. Sukshma bhuta is there. Sukshma avasthas are there. They are all subtle. And this is, Brahmatma is subtler than the subtle. Why is it so? Because that is the truth of the Sukshma also. The very basis of the content of Sukshma also. Sukshmat Sukshmataram. Imagine an entity, big object, is made up of small parts. And then the small parts made up of still smaller parts. Okay? So the constituent of the subtle is subtler than that. Okay? So for here, whatever there is Sukshma, the Atma is Sukshmataram, subtler than that. So that means Atma is very, very minute, very, very tiny, very, very small. We don't go away with that idea that Atma is very, very small. It is mentioned, no? Valagra, Shata, Bhaga, and all that. Like the hair, no? Hair of the head, and then split it vertically into 100 parts. The hair itself is very thin, very tiny, very thin. And then split it into 100 parts, and then Atma is there in one such, that thickness, 1/100th of the hair. So Atma must be very, very tiny, very small Atma, very minuscule Atma. So then there are people who discuss what is the size of Atma, what is the weight of Atma. There are people who then look, weigh a person who is alive. Okay, is about to die, find the weight of this person. And then just the moment the fellow pops up, dies, and then again find the weight. Then that is the weight of Atma, the self. They try to do that. So Atma weighs so many milligrams, micrograms, and all that they say. What is the weight of Atma? What is the size of Atma? And then some also say, what is the color of Atma? Right? A variety of things are there. Atma is blue or red or white, which color? Or yellow, golden yellow, different colors. So we don't stay with that idea of size, right? When it says subtler than the subtle, it only means that it is free from size, that's all. Remember, Anoho Aniyan, right? Anoraniyan and then Mahato Mahiyan. It's going to come later. Anoraniyan is going to be said in this Upanishad itself. We are going to see. Anoho Aniyan, smaller than the atom, smaller than the small. And then I may end up concluding that Atma is very small, smaller than the small. But then it says Mahataha Mahiyan, bigger than the biggest. Okay, smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. Means what? No size. That's all. Free from any such limitations called size and weight, etc. So it is free from that. Sukshmat Sukshmataram, smaller than the smallest. Also, to understand, it's not easy to comprehend the Swarupa, to own the Atma Swarupa. It is not all that easy for everyone, at least for now. Till a person becomes ready to comprehend, right? To understand, to own, Atma remains somewhat vague. The description, the understanding remains vague. I may be convinced what the Shruti says about Atma. Hey, you are Nitya, you are Shuddha, you are the ever pure, you are the eternal. Okay, intellectually I am satisfied, but then I may not really comprehend. I understand, it's acceptable to me. Atma is Nitya, Shuddha. Yes, I would like that way only. But then to own it, to comprehend it, I need a mind which is fully ready for it. And therefore, it remains till I become fully ready to comprehend that, it remains some gap, some distance, conceptually or in terms of understanding, there is some distance. Therefore, it remains Sukshma. In that sense also, it is Sukshmataram, right? in the Kathopanishad, Yeshaha Gudotma na prakashate, it is mentioned. This Atma, Yeshaha, this Atma is Gudaha, is hidden. Gudaha means as if it is hidden. Na prakashate, it's not evident, not understood, not comprehended for everyone. Okay, does it mean that I can never understand Atma, I can never see? No. Drishyate tu agriya buddhya sukshmaya. Well, sukshma buddhi, very fine, refined mind, very pure mind, by that it is comprehended. Drishyate tu, it is definitely seen, means understood, owned by a mind which is totally ready for it. Therefore, in the sense that Atma is difficult to comprehend for a gross mind or an impure mind, therefore it is sukshma taram. Also, this idea is echoed in the Gita also. Ascharyavat pashyati kachidenam. Ascharyavat shrunoti tathaiva chanyah. And then says, Shrutva api vedana kaschit. In the Kathopanishad also it comes. Shrutva api na veda. Even after being taught, even after hearing about Atmaswarupa, one still does not, one may not comprehend that, understand that. Why is it so? Because it is subtle, right? I need to be absolutely ready, in terms of the readiness of the mind, that I need to be ready to comprehend that, to own it. All right, that to the extent I understand, it's fine. That's so much so good. But to own it fully, I have to be totally ready for it. Right? Therefore, it's sukshma taram. I need to drop this notion of individuality, right, as reality, as paramartha. I need to drop it. I am an individual. This notion as a reality, as paramartha, reality about myself, I have to drop it. It's not easy thing. It's not an easy thing to do, right? Because of the karma, because of my own likes and dislikes, because of the vasana pressure, samskara pressure, and all that is there, no? And then because of my insecurity, fear, what will happen if I just drop my notion of individuality? Who will take care of me? I drop everything. I drop my notion of about myself, individuality. I drop. What will happen to me? There is a abhinivesha. There is this fear is there, insecurity is there, and therefore it's not all that easy to drop this idea of an individual. I am an individual. At least that individuality is the truth of me. That notion, that understanding, that idea, I need to drop. Only then I understand Atmaswarupa in its fullness, I understand it fully. And therefore, it's not easy, all that easy, till I am ready to drop it. All the time I keep on putting on, like the whatever roles I play, whatever ideas I have. This is what I identify with. Tadatmya. I identify with that. I identify with my notion of myself. What I am, how I am, right? I identify with that. I am young, I am old, I am man, I am woman, I am healthy, I am not healthy, I am rich, I am poor. All that, I keep on identifying with that. And then I mark all the objects that I come across, all entities, with my own labels. This is good, this is not good, this is fine, that is not fine, this is desirable, not desirable, this is likable, this is hateable, right? Labels. I pin on labels to all things. And then I pin on, without your knowing it, I pin labels to you. Good, better, best, bad, worst, dependable, not dependable, likable, not likable, friend, enemy. Keep on pinning labels to you without your knowing that. And I don't look at you as an individual, as a person. I don't look at you. I look at you through the label that I pin on you. Okay? I pin a label, dependable, on you. Then through that I see you. I don't see you as a person. Shorn of my label, I stick on you. I look at you through my label only. And then somebody is, I just pin, not dependable, hateable. Poor you. You don't even know that why you are not dependable, why you are hateable. You don't even know that. But then I look at through that, not dependable. I look at. right? So the person, the individual keeps on doing that, right? So one has to stop doing that. One has to practice this, stop doing this labeling things, right? Labeling things, labeling entities, all that. Looking through the idea, through the eyes of the individual, through the eyes of this ignorance, this confusion, and then self-opinion, through that one has to stop doing that. To the extent possible, one has to keep doing that. So, till one is ready to do that, till one willingly does that, do that, one will not really understand this, own this, comprehend this. One may be convinced, intellectually one is convinced that, yes, this is the answer, this is what I am seeking, this is what I would like to own. I may be convinced of that, but then comprehension, phalavat, it may not be, because I still have this tendency to look through the eyes of the individual, taking it as paramartha, as the sum and substance of myself and everything of you. And therefore, this has to be dropped. One has to learn to drop this labeling, these notions, one has to keep dropping. More importantly, I have to drop the notions, wrong notions about myself. You remember the story of Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, no? Going to Hastinapura, looking for one bad man and one good man. Okay? So both fellows were sent by Krishna to Hastinapura. No, Krishna tells Duryodhana, go and find one good man in this city, one good person in this city. And Krishna tells Yudhishthira, Dharmaputra, go and find one bad fellow in this city. Right? Both go to the same city on the same day, same 9 to 5 time, same time they go and then come back at the same time. And then one fellow, the Duryodhana, says, Krishna, hopeless. There is no good fellow at all in this world. There is nobody good. Everyone is bad. There is some element of badness in all. Therefore, a person having an element of badness cannot be called good. Therefore, there is no good fellow at all. Duryodhana comes back and tells Krishna. And then the poor fellow, our friend Dharmaputra, comes and says, Krishna, there is no bad fellow at all. See, this is a curious, the object of inspection, the object being same, one fellow says there is no good thing at all. Another fellow says there is no bad thing at all in this. How is it possible? Because of their perception, their outlook. Duryodhana's outlook was such that he looked for defect, shortcoming, error. Looked for defects in all. Yeah, so and so is selfish. Why does this fellow pray? I pray, ask for health and wealth and all that. No, my family should be healthy. Selfish. Selfishness means bad. Okay, labeling. Duryodhana looks upon everyone as selfish and bad and then jealous. Interestingly, why he saw? Because he was that. He was jealous of Pandavas. He was jealous of that. He had a lot of the tendencies in him, and he saw everyone through that. As I am, so is everyone. That's what his thought was. Okay? So his eyes were clouded with his own opinion about himself, and therefore he would see only through that eyes only he would see everyone. And on the other hand, Dharmaputra looks at everyone in the good light, because he is committed to dharma, he is committed to goodness. See, one thing, don't look for perfection. This is a secret, okay? Don't look for perfection in the other person. You will be disappointed all the time. But look for goodness, you will be rewarded all the time. Look for perfection, perfect 10, number 10, say perfect score 10. Look for that in people, don't look for perfection in the other person. You will be disappointed, because the person is an individual, has his or her own frailties are there, vagaries are there, then tendencies are there, preferences are there. Not all are going to please you to stand up. They are not going to stand up your expectation of perfection. If you look for perfection, you will be disappointed all the time. Okay, all the time, because there may not be a perfect being around. And then, on the other hand, you look for any goodness in that, you will be rewarded. You can see goodness in people. Some goodness, some politeness in there, some kindness in somebody, patience in somebody, right? And then charity in somebody. All that we can find all the time. You can keep finding that. You will be rewarded all the time. So, Duryodhana looked for a sort of perfection which was himself. He did not think that I am perfect. And then he looked with that and looked for perfection. It is not there. Therefore, this is a very interesting narrative in the Mahabharata. We hear this. So, it's the eyes through which I look at the world, my outlook, my perception matters. And my perception is influenced by my perception of myself. Therefore, the moment I can see myself shorn of these labels, I am ready to look at the other people also bereft of, without these labels also I can see. Okay, so it's not an easy thing. In Vyavahara, it's not all that easy to do, and therefore it's said that it's difficult to comprehend. Sukshmat sukshmataram. It's difficult to comprehend because I have to drop all the erroneous notions about myself. And thereby, my erroneous outlook and notions about the world, I need to drop. This dropping is not easy because I've been clinging on to this as my defense, my wall. This is what I am, this is what I look at, this is how I take care of myself. And therefore, this being abhinivesha, the insecurity, fear being there, it remains as if sukshma, as if, right? Not really very difficult to comprehend, but it looks difficult for me because I am not ready yet. I am not ready to drop certain erroneous ideas yet about myself and about the world. I am not ready. Therefore, sukshmataram. In that way also it is sukshmataram. Thirdly, sukshma means more pervasive. That's more pervasive. What is sukshma is more pervasive. Right? Look at the Panchabhutas. Prithvi is among the five, Prithvi is the grossest. Okay? It is Thula, it is. And then before that comes Apaha, which is more pervasive, subtler than that, subtler than the Prithvi. And before that comes Agni, which is more subtle, more pervasive. Being the Karana, it is more pervasive. And finally the fifth one, Akasha, is the subtlest among the Panchabhutas. It's more pervasive. It sustains, it accommodates Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Prithvi, and yet it is bigger. It's subtle, it is bigger, it is pervasive, more Vyapti. It is Vyapti, it is Vyapta, it has more Vyapti, more pervasive. So what is subtle here? It means that more pervasive, being the Karana, being the cause. The cause is subtler than the effect, and the cause is more pervasive than the effect. In that sense, here it is sukshma taram. Being the cause, it is subtle. Being the cause, it is more pervasive. Okay. Then nityam, not bound by time, not limited by time at all. Okay, free from the changes. You remember the Shad Bhava Vikara, Jayate, Asti, etc. Born is there, enjoys an existence in time, and then grows, changes, decays, and then finally perishes. This sixfold changes, Shad Bhava Vikara. Atma, Brahma is free from that, not bound by time. Time is Vyavaharika, and whereas Atma is Paramarthika. A Vyavaharika time cannot affect the Paramarthika Atma. Therefore, Nityam it is. Okay. And then, Tat Tvameva. That indeed, that Param Brahma is you are. Indeed, you are. Tat Tvameva. This is the Mahavakya. Tat Tvameva. That Brahman is verily you, the Atma. Okay. And the Shruti reverses the order. Tvameva Tat. Verily, you are indeed that. That indeed you are. You are indeed that. To knock off any miscomprehension, misunderstanding of this Mahavakya. The Shruti places it the other way also. You are that you are. So it says. Okay. Making doubly sure that You understand, I understand it only the correct way, not in the incorrect way. Therefore, you are that. Tattvameva, tvameva tat. Okay. Look at the commentary. Yat prasiddham. Prasiddha means well known. Well known in the Shastra, in the Sampradaya. Among the Mumukshus, it is well known. That which is well known, prasiddham. What is it that? Param utkrishtam. The higher one, the highest. Utkrishtam, highest. Because it is untouched. Untouched by, unaffected, unlimited by all this Namarupa. That is Param. Also it is Utkrishtam because it is Parama Purushartha, Parama Ananda it is. Therefore it is Utkrishtam. We value things according to our own evaluation of the object. Something I like more, I value it more. Okay? Something I value less, then I give a less value to that. Here, my being Ananda is the highest value that I have. Therefore it is Param Utkrishtam, the highest. Param Utkrishtam. Untouched by all the Vyavahara, Namarupa. At the same time, the Adhara of all Vyavahara, Namarupa, but untouched by all that, being Paramarthika, Utkrishtam. Further, Brahma, Brihat. Brahma, the word Brahma comes from Brihi, Brih Dhatu, Brihi, Vriddhau, that which is big, which is in the sense of being big. Brihi, Vriddhau. Vriddhi means being big, growing or being big here. So Brahma means the big one. And that is explained here, Brihat, the big one. Big ones means what? Bigger than a mountain, bigger than the sun, bigger than a star, bigger than a galaxy. What is a big? It says unlimited. Unlimited, limitless it is. And that he says, Desha Kala Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. Paricheda is limitation. Shunyam, bereft of, without any limitation, being unlimited. Limitless it is. The limitation is in terms of Desha, in terms of place, in terms of Kala, time-wise, and in terms of Vastu, entity. So, Desha Paricheda, Vastu, Kala Paricheda, Vastu Paricheda. Objects have. A table, for instance, has Desha Paricheda, limited in terms of space. Here it is now. This table is here. Here means only here, not elsewhere now. Right? This is the Desha Paricheda. A table, an entity, is limited in terms of place, space. And then time. The table exists now. It did not exist some 20 years ago, and it may not exist after some 2000 years, say or 100 years, it may not exist. So it has a Kala Paricheda, limitation in terms of time. And then Vastu Paricheda, the table is not the clock is not the book. One object excludes the other. The table is not the clock is not the table. They are mutually exclusive. One excludes the other. So there is a Vastu Paricheda. Whereas Atma is, where is Atma? Where is Brahman? The truth of all, therefore, everywhere. Whatever we call as place, the Atma is the truth of it. It is. Therefore, there is no Desha Paricheda. Kala Paricheda, the past and present and future, right? Today and tomorrow and yesterday, all this. No. All this, where does this Kala exist? Where? It is again in the Kala, Shunya it is. Right? Therefore, Atma, Brahma is not limited by time. Okay? I am the witness of time, the passing of time. As the events unfold, I am the witness of time. Okay? And being the witness of time, I am untouched by time. Therefore, Kala Paricheda Shunyam it is. We say, no, Om Namaste, in the mantra, Namastestu Bhagavan Vishveshwaraya, we say. Then we say, Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Trimbakaya Tripurantakaya Trikalagni Kalaya Kalagni Rudraya. Kala he is. Kala of Kala. Right? Kala is time. And another meaning Kala is Yama. Okay? The end of Kala. what brings about an end of Kala also. Kala, Kalasyapi, Kalaha. Okay. So the Mrityunjaya, that Markandeya, right, the Markandeya episode, Markandeya incident, no? Markandeya Rishi was given 16 years of lifespan, right? And even as he was born, he was given this. You will live only for 16 years. After 16 years, you will die. And then, as he approached that 15th year or something, then the parents told him, "Oh son," then he was very nice fellow, nice young man he was, and then the parents loved him, and then they told him, you have come with, you are born with this curse, whatever vara or curse it is, you will live only for 16 years, you will die. But then we don't want you to die, but we don't know what to do. We know only this, pray. Pray to Ishvara is the only way that we know. Then please Maheshwara, then you may be free from this, the life limitation, you may be free. Then Markandeya kept on praying to Shiva. And then the time came, Shiva, Yama, the Lord of Death comes to, that he described, no, he comes on a buffalo, with he's very darkish looking, very black looking, fearful looking, fierce looking, with reddish eyes and all that, with a big nose, terrific looking, terrible looking entity, with the cowboy's rope like thing, no, with a pasha, it's called a pasha. And he throws that rope around the individual and then pulls off the soul, pulls off the Atma, Jiva, and then takes it away to wherever it has to go. So Yama comes, and then Markandeya sees this and then holds on to this Shiva tightly. Right? These are all they're all descriptive there. So him symbolic. He holds on to the truth. You hold on to untruth, the time will come, time will catch you. You hold on to truth, time cannot touch you. That's all, right? Time cannot touch you. So Markandeya held on to the truth, that is Shiva, and then Yama came and tried to pull away the Jiva from the body. Yama could not do. And then because he was holding on, Markandeya was holding on to the truth, holding on to the linga. Now he thought, okay, let me take the linga also along with the Markandeya's Jiva. Right? And then he tried to do that, and then it said in the Purana, in the Linga Purana, Shiva Purana, Linga Purana, Shiva manifested and then gave a kick to the Yama's chest like that. They kicked away Kala, the limitation of time. Right? So it's a very interesting anecdote, interesting thing mentioned. So I hold on to truth. If I hold on to truth, I am free from the clutches of time. I will not be touched by time. I hold on to untruth, and then I am bound by time, and I may go. Anytime I may go. That is the hold on to untruth. Death is inevitable. Here, death does not refer to the death of the body, but then the fear, the notion of limitation, samsara. Death refers to samsara here. Therefore, hold on to truth, I am free from samsara. Hold on to untruth, that is samsara. For the Markandeya, that Kala, he was called as Kala. Shiva is Kala. So, is the Kala Paricheda Shunyam. Okay. And then Vastu Paricheda Shunyam, free from. Where is Atma in this object? Where is Brahman? Where is Ishvara? As the truth of this object, or as the truth of the other object? The truth of every entity. Therefore, there is no place, there is no entity which is minus, which is free from, which is bereft of being Brahman. Brahman being the Swarupa of it. Okay? Suppose there is one entity here, another here. What is the truth of this? Brahmatma. What is the truth of that? Brahmatma. What is in between? Some space. And what is the truth of that space? Again that very easily Ishvara, Brahmatma. Therefore, it is Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. That's how it is. Okay. Vyavahara, in Vyavahara, their space limitation, time limitation, entity limitation is in the Vyavaharika level, it is there. That is the truth of Vyavahara. Namarupa being limited, there will be limitation, but you are free from the Namarupa. You are Paramarthika, therefore, Deshakala Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. Further, Sarvatma. He explains the truth of the Atma, the self of all, the Atma, all. That he explains. Sarva Prani Sthitaha. Obtaining, Sthitaha, obtaining as the very Prani, in all Prani. Sarveshu Pranishu Sthitaha, obtains as the very content of all beings. Sarva Prani Sthitaha. In the Bhagavad Gita we see in the 4th chapter, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Hastini Shuni Chaiva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Panditaha, the wise person, wise people are Samadarshinaha. They have the facility of the mind, of the intellect, of the mind, of the personality to look at what is the same in all. Samadarshinaha. What is the sama? What is the same in all? In all means what? Vidya Vinaya Sampannaha Brahmanaha. An educated and a noble Brahmana. A Brahmana who is noble, a Brahmana who is educated, Vidya and Vinaya Sampannaha Brahmana. And what about the Hasti, the elephant? Yes. And then Shuni Chaiva, and in a dog Sharira also. They say Vidya Vinaya Sampanna refers to Sattva Guna, Hasti refers to Rajo Guna, the Shwana, the dog refers to Tamo Guna, etc. They refer. Whatever it is, whatever way we interpret. The point is this, in and through all beings, what is the truth of all? That Nirdosham Samam Brahma. Again Gita, Nirdosham Samam Brahma. Tasmat Brahmani Te Rataha. Very beautiful. Okay. In its grandeur, Gita is unmatched. In the grandeur of presentation ideas, Bhagavad Gita is unmatched. Nirdosham Samam Brahma. There is no dosha, there is no defect whatsoever in the Param Brahma Atma. Samam Brahma, being the same in all. I, as the I, as the very existence, as the Ananda, as the Shuddha, as the Purna, it is the same. So, that is the Sarva Prani Sthita. It obtains in all beings. The sadhakas, the sadhana, the practice of the sadhana, the practice of the sadhaka is to see in all beings Samam Brahma, Nirdosham Brahma. Don't focus on the doshas, defects. Right? Whatever for Vyavahara sake, whatever little, the least possible you have, only for Vyavahara. Right? Only for Vyavahara's sake. Can this person do that? Can that person do the other thing? That is Vyavahara. For that sake, and that too in the light of Dharma, keeping Dharma in the mind, going along with Dharma, you keep all that to the minimum possible. To the extent possible, don't look at the defects of others. It's pointless. It's pointless. What is the defect in that person? How bad is that person? What is the shortcoming in that person? What is the unpredictability in this person? Pointless it is. Samsara it is. And therefore, don't focus on the dosha. That is, don't impute the dosha onto the person. Right? But then, look at what is the truth of the person. Invoke the higher self, higher truth of the being. You invoke the higher truth of yourself, that I am Shuddha, Nitya, Purna, Ananda, Atma. Invoke that. I am free from all this incidentals. I am above that incidental. I am not touched by the incidentals. Okay? So too is the truth of every being that I deliberately invoke. Don't look for the defects in the other people, but look for, as I said, look for goodness. Looking for defect means looking for perfection. I am looking for perfection. Perfect fellow, perfect woman, perfect man, perfect wife, perfect husband, perfect parent, perfect neighbor. You won't get it. Even in heaven you will not get it. I will not get it. Even in heaven I will not get it. So, look for the goodness, look for the truth, look for the higher nature. invoke it deliberately in me and then in the other person. You see, I like a person who invokes the goodness in me, the happy being in me, right? If you invoke the good fellow in me, I like you because I like being good. I like to be good. I like to be happy. You invoke it, then I like you. If you invoke this not the likable person in me, I know that. I know my shortcomings and I don't like it myself. I don't like it. And you invoke it, no, I feel sore. Okay? I feel sore about it. It's like a sore wound, no? So you invoke the badness in me, worthlessness in me, unpredictability in me, defect in me. I don't relish it. I won't like relating to you at all because I feel sore about that. On the other hand, you invoke the goodness in me, the good in me, no? Then I feel good about it. Right? I have something to live for. I have something to live up to, no? Because I have some goodness. And therefore, invoke the nobility, invoke the goodness in the others. That is the secret. Therefore, sarva prani sitaha. In all beings, let me appreciate that the truth of this and this and this and this is Brahmatma, which is eternally pure. It is ever pure. Let me invoke that. Let me that be the starting point of my interaction, of my response. Okay? Remember, I don't interact, let me not interact for happiness, for fullness, for peace. No. Let me start the other way. Happily I do, happily I interact, happily I respond. Okay? Let this be the starting point. Let my vision of the other person or the being be on a higher plane. Invoke the higher self in me, higher nature of me, and then try to invoke that deliberately. This is a practice. This is a spiritual practice. Invoke the higher being in the other person and then interact. Then my response will be more meaningful, more rewarding, and more likable. Okay? You will relish my interacting with me because I invoke the goodness in you, the higher self in you. Therefore, sarva prani sthitaha. This is not only the truth of it, this is the practice of the sadhaka also. The sadhaka has to practice this. Sarva prani sthitaha atma. This is what? You are nothing less than Brahman. Okay? You are nothing less than Ishvara. I am not looking at the Nama Rupa. This is only purely for the Vyavahara sake. I may retain to the extent necessary, but then more than that, I see you as Ishvara. I see you as Param Brahma. This is a noble outlook to have, to practice. Sarva prani sthitaha. And then further. Sarva ananyaha cha. It's not anya. Anya means other than. It's not other than any being. Sarva ananya. It is the very truth of all beings. Anyat means other than that. Okay? The self, the truth of a being is not anyat, is not other than that very being, the truth of the being. Sarva ananyaha. Nothing is away from Brahmatma, nothing is away from Ishvara. Therefore, sarva ananyaha. Okay. Again, these are all very beautiful words. Sarva prani, sarva ananyaha. This is how I have to look at. Even deliberately. Right? Even deliberately I may let me do that. You are not separate from, you are not other than Ishvara, Brahma. You are not away from Ishvara. That way I deliberately do that. Sarva ananyaha cha. Till I understand, till I comprehend, till I own this fact, let me practice this. After all, the meaningful living, the most satisfying living lies in this. Okay? My seeing you as not other than Ishvara, not separate from Ishvara. That's where I see the Purushartha lies. Therefore, sarva prani sthitaha, sarva ananyaha cha. Further. That is it, sarva atma, the truth of the being of all. Okay. And I am that. And I am the truth of all. Sarva atma, I am. And therefore, who are you? No, only me. I am you. That's all, full stop. Only in another name, another form, in another body, in another setup, no? In another costume, it is called you. In another, it's called me, right? In this body, it is me. In that body, it is you, full stop, right? So, you in the other body and mind complex is not other than me in this body and mind complex. So, I am, you are me, full stop, right? This is the vision. And this you being me, I being you, I have nothing against you, right? Because you are me, I have nothing against myself. I cannot, fight against myself. I have nothing against me. I am me. That's all. And therefore, when I see that you are me, I have nothing against you. I have no krodha, lobha, matsarya, etc. towards you. I don't envy you. I am not jealous of you. I don't hate you because I am you. You are me. Therefore, it's the very beautiful bhava to practice. You are me, full stop. Only you are called by this name, you are in this form, you are called a man, you are called a woman, you are called an American, you are called an Australian, and this is called an Indian. It's all based on this upadhi. It's all upadhi, that's all. Right? Just for vyavahara's sake. And our vyavahara, the sadhaka's vyavahara is to discover the fullness. That is the sadhaka's vyavahara. And help each other. I help you, you help me, right? I help you in appreciating the Sarvatma. You help me in my appreciating the Sarvatma. That is yoga. That is yoga, right? Yoga, using or utilizing an entity, an opportunity to invoke the higher truth of oneself, of everything. That is yoga. That way that relation becomes yoga. That interaction becomes yoga, right? My interaction with you becomes yoga when I invoke the higher self in you, right? Higher truth of you. That becomes yoga. So, the life becomes one of yoga. Continuous, that is yoga. Yoga Jivanam. There is one bhogi, there is one rogi, and there is one yogi, right? The fellow who is a glutton, okay? Eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. Once in a while, one may indulge, it's okay. But this fellow, we are not talking about once in a while. All the time, eating. 4 times, 5 times the fellow has a meal. That fellow is a bhogi. Rogi. They say in Tamil there is one verse. One who eats 3, I'm not saying that you should eat those so many times. I'm not saying this. I'm just reciting a verse. Okay, 3 times the fellow eats square meal, round meal, all that the fellow eats. 3 times a day, 4 times a day. That fellow is a rogi. And then the fellow who eats 2 times is a bhogi. It's an enjoyer, revels, enjoys eating food. 2 times, 2 square meals. Okay, I don't know what is square meal anyway. 2 square meals. Okay. If I eat in a round plate, will it be a square meal? Anyway. And then the one who eats once is a yogi. Orubodu unban yogiye. The one who fellow eats. And what about the fellow who eats 4 times, 5 times? Udal vittu pogiyena. This fellow will soon perish. That's it. Okay. So idea is this yogi, life of yoga. It is that. Yoga, the life of yoga is this, that I practice deliberately, I invoke the higher truth, the truth of you, the truth of me, the truth of being, deliberately. If it's not possible for me to do that all the time, at least as and when possible, as much as possible, yatha shakti, keep doing it. So that is the key, that is the secret, that's the key. Therefore, here it says, sarva ananyaha. Sarva prani stitaha. Okay, further. Sarvasya karya karana jatasya. No, I left the word vishvasya. Vishvasya means sarvasya, of all. What is this all? Karya karana jatasya. Jata here is samuha, the group. The very group of karya, and in some reading it is karya karana. It is karya, here it is karya karana. Karya refers to shariram, and the karana refers to the sukshma sharira. Karana, the reading is Karana, it refers to the Karanas, Indriya, Mana, etc. So Karya Karana Jatasya or Karya Karana Jatasya, that is the Vishwasya of all the the Sharira and the instruments of all that. Sarvasya Ayatanam. Ayatanam means abode, that he says Adhara Bhutam. The very Adhara, very substratum, the very ground of all the body and mind complexes, indriyas, of all, Sarvasya Ayatanam, in which all manifest, in which all have a being. The body, mind, etc. have a being. Remember the Kaivalyopanishad, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshushaha Chakshuhu, the eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, Vachoga Vacham, the speech of the speech, and then Manaso Manaha Yat, the mind of the minds, that is there. That is Atma. Okay. So, Sarvasya Ayatanam Adhara Bhutam. Mahat Praudam. The big one. Prauda is the big one. Very big one. Mahat, the huge, the big one. Okay. Praudam. The great entity, the Praudam. Okay. More we will see tomorrow. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhyajatraha Sthirairangai Tushtuvam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitai Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridhashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Starkshiyo Arishtanimihi Swastino Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti 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 Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Shishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. What is that you are asking?
Yes. Sarvajna is a Trikalagnya.
Yes.
Can be a Trikalagnya or may not be Trikalagnya?
Sarvajna is Trikalagnya, yes. Sarva means Trikala also, yes.
Sarvajna knows about the Trikala.
Yes, that is Sarva means Trikala also, Kala also is, yes, has to be, yes. That is only Ishvara really in it, full sense. It's only Ishvara who is Sarvajna. Yes.
Not others?
Partially one may be, like Siddha Purushas are there. They may know a little bit. They are compared to the normal, ordinary human mind, they are much more knowing, yes. Yeah. But they are not, they don't have the Maya Upadhi. The Ishvara only has Maya Upadhi. So in its fullest sense, only Ishvara is Sarvajna. The other yogis and Siddha Purusha and all that saints and then holy and all, they are all compared to other people, they are more knowing, yes. In that sense, they are called Sarvajnas. It's like this, no? Suppose I have only 1 rupee and you have 1,000 rupees, you are rich. But then 1,000 rupees is not all rich. The other person has a billion, the crores and crores of rupees. That fellow is the real rich. But compared to me, you are rich. So I am like the ordinary jiva. You are like the having 1,000 rupees like the Siddha Purusha. And then Ishvara is like the Kubera, it is like the Mahavishnu. Like. So in a relative sense, the great rishis and they are called Sarvajnas in a relative sense. Like the 1,000 rupee wala is called a rich man, like that, yes. Yeah. In a relative sense, yes.
But I meant that they know about the past, present and future.
Limited sense, in a limited sense. In a limited way, yes. Not an all-knowing. They are not all-knowing, all times, all the things in all the times. That is not possible. It's only possible for the entity Ishvara who has Maya Upadhi. Only Maya Upadhi it is possible. With the human mind, I can know a little more than you do, more than I know now. I can know a little more. That way it can be, comparatively, it can be called a Sarvajna relative to the other one, that's all. But not in its absolute sense. Okay.
So the other day you told me, I asked you whether the silence is Ananda. You said that is Ananda is one aspect, this silence is one aspect. There are other aspects also there. What is the other aspect?
We'll come to it, yeah. We are in the Mahavakyana, we have to see all that, we have to see. Yeah, we will see that, yeah.